You know what separates the truly powerful from everyone else? It's not what they say, it's what they don't say. I learned this the hard way, and today I'm going to share with you the 8 situations where your silence will become your greatest weapon. But before I dive in, let me tell you something that will change your life forever. The person who masters silence masters their destiny. I used to be the guy who had something to say about everything. Every conversation, every meeting, every argument, I was there, mud running, thinking I was proving how smart I was, until one day I realized something that hit me like a lightning bolt. The most successful people I knew, the ones who commanded real respect, they barely spoke. When they did, everyone listened. That's when I understood that words are like money. The more you spend, the less valuable they become. Think about this for a moment. We live in a world where everyone is screaming to be heard. Social media, conversations, meetings, it's all noise. But what if I told you that in this chaos of voices, your silence could be the loudest sound in the room? What if I told you that by choosing when not to speak, you could gain more power than any words could ever give you? The first situation where you must embrace silence is when someone is trying to provoke you. I call this the trap of emotional reaction. Picture this. Someone says something that cuts deep, something designed to make you explode. Your blood boils, your face gets hot, and every fiber of your being wants to fire back with something equally hurtful or defensive. This is the moment where 99% of people fail. They take the bait, they react, they lose. But here's what I discovered. When someone tries to provoke you and you remain silent, something magical happens. First, they don't get the satisfaction they're looking for. They threw their best punch and you didn't even flinch. Second, and this is crucial, your silence makes them question themselves. Did you not hear them? Are you so unbothered that their words mean nothing? This uncertainty is your power while they're trying to figure you out. You've already won. I remember being in a business meeting where a competitor tried to embarrass me in front of potential clients. He brought up a past failure, twisted the story, and painted me as incompetent. The old me would have defended myself, explained the situation, maybe even attacked back. Instead, I looked at him, gave a slight smile, and said nothing. The room went quiet. Everyone was waiting for my response, but I just moved on to the next point of my presentation. By the end of that meeting, I had signed the biggest deal of my career. Why? Because my silence spoke volumes about my confidence and professionalism. The second situation demands your silence when you're in the presence of someone sharing their pain or struggles. This is where most people mess up catastrophically. Someone opens up about their problems, and what do? We immediately jump in with advice, with our own similar stories, with solutions they didn't ask for. We think we're helping, but we're actually stealing their moment. When someone is pouring their heart out, your job isn't to fix them. Your job is to be a witness to their experience. Your silence gives them space to express what they've been holding inside. It tells them without words that their feelings are valid, that they're being heard, that they matter. This kind of silence is a gift that few people know how to give. I learned this lesson when my closest friend was going through a divorce. Every time we met, I had advice, I had strategies, I had similar stories from other people. One day he looked at me and said, "Can you just listen?" That's when it hit me. My words, no matter how well-intentioned, were drowning out what he really needed, someone to simply be there. From that day forward, I practiced the art of silent support. And you know what? Our friendship became deeper than ever before. The third situation where silence becomes your superpower is during negotiations. Whether you're negotiating a salary, a business deal, or even something as simple as the price of a car, the person who speaks first after the offer loses. This is a law as fundamental as gravity in the world of negotiation. Here's why this works. When you make your offer or state your position and then remain silent, you create pressure, not on yourself, but on the other person. They feel compelled to fill the void, and in filling that void, they often reveal information you couldn't have gotten any other way. They might improve their offer, they might show their hand, they might negotiate against themselves. I once sat in a negotiation for a major contract. After stating our price, which was significantly higher than what they expected, I shut my mouth. The silence lasted for what felt like an eternity, probably 45 seconds. The other party started fidgeting. Then they started talking. First, they explained why the price was too high. Then, without me saying a word, they started suggesting ways they could make it work. By the time they finished talking, they had essentially agreed to 90% of what we asked for, all because I knew when to stop talking. The fourth situation is perhaps the most challenging for people in our modern age. When you're surrounded by gossip. We live in a culture that thrives on talking about others. It's entertainment, it's bonding, it's also poison. When you're in a group and the conversation turns to gossip about someone who isn't there, your silence becomes a statement of character. But here's the tricky part. If you speak up against the gossip, you might come across as preachy or holier than thou. If you participate, you become part of the problem. The solution? Strategic silence. Don't contribute, don't laugh, don't nod in agreement, just be quiet. Change the subject when you get the chance. Your silence in these moments builds a reputation that money can't buy. The reputation of someone who can be trusted. I've watched careers get destroyed by gossip. I've seen friendships end and opportunities vanish because someone couldn't keep their mouth shut about others. But I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people rise to incredible heights simply because they were known as the person who never spoke ill of others. When you refuse to participate in gossip through your silence, you become the person everyone trusts with their secrets. You become the safe space in a world full of judgment. The fifth situation where silence serves you is when you're learning something new. We live in an era where everyone wants to appear smart. We interrupt with questions to show we're engaged. We share related experiences to prove we understand. We nod and make sounds of agreement. But all of this noise prevents us from truly absorbing what's being taught. True learning happens in silence. When you're quiet, really quiet, you pick up on nuances that others miss. You hear the things that aren't being said. You notice the body language, the hesitations, the emphasis. You absorb not just the information, but the wisdom behind it. This is why the greatest students are often the quietest ones. They understand that every moment spent talking is a moment not spent learning. It transformed my life when I learned to be silent during learning opportunities. Whether it was in business seminars, personal development workshops, or even casual conversations with successful people, I practiced extreme listening. No interruptions, no clever questions to show off my knowledge, just pure focused silence. The amount of wisdom I absorbed during these silent periods laid the foundation for everything I've achieved. The sixth situation is when you've accomplished something significant. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, shouldn't you celebrate your wins? Shouldn't you share your success? Yes, but not immediately, and not with everyone. When you achieve something great and you immediately broadcast it, you dilute its power. You turn your achievement into just another social media post, another humble brag, another piece of noise in an already noisy world. Silence after success serves multiple purposes. First, it allows you to fully experience and internalize your achievement. You get to savor it without the need for external validation. Second, it creates mystery. When people eventually find out about your success, and they will, the fact that you didn't announce it makes it even more impressive. It shows that your achievements are for you, not for applause. I built a multi-million-dollar business, and most people in my life didn't know about it for years, not because I was hiding it, but because I wasn't advertising it. When people eventually found out, their respect for me multiplied. They realized I was the kind of person who did things for the satisfaction of doing them, not for the recognition. This kind of silence builds a different level of credibility. The seventh situation where silence is golden is when you're angry. Anger is like fire. It consumes everything in its path, including the person feeling it. When you speak from anger, you say things you can't take back. You make decisions you regret. You burn bridges that took years to build. But when you choose silence in your anger, you give yourself the greatest gift possible.